All right, what is up, everyone? It's another Monday night. It's another Living Force. You found us. Tonight we're gonna bring it down a bit. We're gonna talk about how we all avoid Star Wars burnout in a world where so many great things are coming. Sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. That's okay. But we are here to give our life experience. We hope it helps you out a little bit. But I really hope that Wes punches it. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the Living Force. I am one of your hosts, Eric EILERSEN, and joining me on this Youtini network production is a couple of my closest buds. We got Dr. Corey HELTON.
Hello. Welcome. Hello.
Hi.
Yes.
Hi.
Hello to you. Hello
Welcome.
to you. Yes.
Doctor.
Doctor. we all did that at my graduation in medical school.
I'm so glad.
I'm sure you did. It was so dumb. Oh,
However,
man.
you can't say that to anyone tonight because Dr. Charles Hankel is busy birthing baby calves, or whether you guys do in the hospital.
That's
but Wes
pretty
Jenkins
accurate.
is here. What's up, man?
Hello, everyone. And I took everything out of my room, and now I just have I have a
Boba
book.
Fett helmet and two
I have
books.
a book that I'm currently reading, and a book that I need to read. Apparently,
There you go.
I dig it. Well, yeah, everyone. Wes and I are both desk buddies. I am on a new desk right now. I'm on the Secret Lab Magnus desk. I took apart all my cable management on Memorial Day weekend. It's very stressful, but we're here. We're here to talk about some Star Wars. Hi to everyone in the chat. Thank you for hanging out with us. Again, if you're an audio listener or watching later on the video, hello to you as well. We're live every Monday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Couple things before we talk about how exhausted we can be by all the good things in our lives. This past week, on May 26th to be exact, the embargoes were technically lifted on Wave 2 of the High Republic, the books I have right next to me here. At Youtini, we do not review the books until day of release. We like to make sure that we're as close to the action as possible and that you all have a chance to at least start the book before you read our reviews if you so wish. But, fellas, I wanted to mention it only because if you're on Twitter, the reviews are very, 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 very good. Did you guys see any of these?
I have not seen it. And shockingly, I have not gotten any of my early copies yet for some reason. You got them way before me this time, which has happened before.
Yeah,
but
the physical copies were there were limited amounts of physical copies. I know this time. So I have people now know I'm a better person than Corey officially.
that is correct.
So
It was
that's
bound
good.
to happen eventually.
The secret's out.
Eric actually reads the books way early. Like, who would
When
have
I
thought?
get them.
Who would have thought? Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then forgets them, and then has to read them again before
twice.
the round
You
table.
can
That
read
is
them
how it
twice
goes.
before
Insane.
I can read it one time. That's why he
Because
gets
I'm
them early.
dedicated.
Yes.
But other folks that got them early and finished them all, because I'm still reading them. The reviews are overwhelmingly positive. A lot of folks were saying that Wave 2 on the whole is even better than Wave 1 on
Yeah.
the whole. People were
Mad.
calling, CAVAN's Rising Storm a masterpiece is the word
Yeah.
I saw a bunch of times. So again, no remote spoilers for us on any
Which
High
makes
Republic
me
stuff.
Makes me so happy. What if it was absolute garbage? CAVAN is
It's
such
like,
an amazing
yeah,
person.
he tried.
We love CAVAN. He's one of my favorite people in this community. And
Yep.
we gave him our Social Butterfly Award for the Youtinis last
We
year.
did, we did.
And really, really great guy. That would have been really bad.
That would have been awful, but
let us assure
luckily.
you, if it was terrible, you would not hear from us.
no. But luckily, the reviews have been great. I am a little bit more than halfway through Rising Storm, and since the embargo is lifted, I won't say anything spoilery, but it's phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
so freaking good.
That's what I've heard.
I'm sad I have to do this show right now, only because I want to keep reading that book. But one thing we will say though is based on the reviews. If you are wondering what order to read the books in, I know that's always a big question. Release order seems to be the best, which is Rising Storm, then Race to Crash Point Tower by Daniel Jose Older, and then Out of the Shadows in July. So that is the preferred order to get the best sequence of events. So congrats to all the High Republic authors on, again, hype. Just so much good hype going on for this initiative. Obviously, I'm wearing my Starlight Beacon shirt today again. Because I want to, because I forgot I wore it a couple weeks ago until this moment.
Stud.
But whatever, you don't know me. I love it. All right. A couple other things we want to get to. Our Patreons are, dang it, every week.
Every
our
single
Patreon updates for our patrons.
Whatever. Are they? That was terrible. It's so bad. Everybody that has a Patreon makes this mistake. Every single person.
In my Patreon.
Why couldn't they just call them like community members or something else? I know patrons is catchy,
Too many syllables. Community members.
Awful.
Say community members.
Thank you to my new patrons. We got a bunch of new ones. We got Ian Cooley, Matt Clark, Stephen Naraki, and Duncan McWannell joined at the monthly level, and then Andrew French upgraded his Patreon to a yearly membership, which again helps us out a ton. It helps us plan for the future. It helps us plan the new year of content, knowing that kind of what resources we have to allocate. So thank you all. We hope you're enjoying the extra content that we throw up on that Patreon. Speaking of which, as a reminder, if you're a fan of the Ghost Crew that Charlie and I do, we just finished up season 2. And in season 3, we're going to be going to the Inquisitorious level of patrons. I believe recently we've been at $5 and above. So that show will be going to the $10 tier and above. So if you like that show, if you've been listening, just when we want to give you plenty of heads up, that was made behind the scenes decision with a lot of polling and things like that. So just so you know, a Charles Hankel asks in the chat, have we met the next Patreon goal? And yes, we have. We have met the new Patreon goal, which is the Drunk Trivia Night. I know on Patreon, I think it still says Bloodline Roundtable. A trivia night with the 4 of us is coming your way. Based on how we do Patreon events, it will probably be by the end of next month. So keep your eyes out for that. Usually we do like Friday nights seem to work out well, but nothing has been officially scheduled yet. Send us your suggestions, please, in Discord or on Twitter. Email them, whatever you want. It'll be a fun night. It'll be a fun hangout. So keep your eyes peeled. And again, one more giant, legit thank you to all of you who support us on Patreon. When we started doing this, we didn't think anyone would care. This is straight up, and it is not lost on us after all this time.
I still don't care.
Support us. No, Corey doesn't care. Corey doesn't care at all, which we'll get to later in the show. So thank you all.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we do care about.
Always. Sorry.
No,
your segue, I ruined it. Always.
It's dead.
It's always a huge honor to get to get support from our Patreon community, whatever the hell it is. Like, it's nice to get the support. It really means a lot. It literally is what pays the bills and keeps the lights on. I just got billed for our website again. It's really expensive. It's like $500 or so a year, not a month. Woo, that would be a lot.
Holy crap!
Youtini.com. That's the website.
Our website is very, very custom website. We put many hours in, and it's expensive to run, right? So I just got billed for that, and I was like, that didn't hurt at all. It didn't hurt to pay that bill because we have such an amazing support from our community. So that's awesome. It means a lot, guys. Keep it up. And, here, let's get wasted next month. Cheers.
That's what it is. And answer trivia questions. And of course, in addition to our patrons, we also want to say a quick highlight. We just hit 1.5 thousand YouTube subscribers. So if you're someone that is new to the YouTube community, if you subscribed recently, welcome. This here is the Living Force Podcast, our live show we do every Monday, chatting. And that's in addition to all the great videos you see from our video team that get posted all the time. So awesome. This community is amazing. We love you all very dearly. All right, now time for our Star Wars Weekly Roundup, where we're going to tell you all the new things you got to know about the Star Wars community. A quick plug that we don't usually talk about is a comic book coming out this Wednesday. The War of the Bounty Hunters event starts in full. We've had some preludes up until now, like some prelude. The Alpha #1 came out. Dr. Aphra and Star Wars Invader had issues that were like leading up. But this Wednesday, War of the Bounty Hunters #1 comes out. It has a really brilliant, awesome cover. I think we can throw up right now. Look at that. Boba Fett standing all imposingly. It's called Most Wanted is the title. It's by Charles Soule. And it comes out this Wednesday, and it kicks off the War of the Bounty Hunters event. Now, we don't talk a lot about comics here. That's our Wednesday show, The Cosmic Force. They'll be covering this a lot more in depth. But if you don't watch that show or you're a little behind on the comics, we just want to make you aware that this is going to be coming out. It's starting an event that's going to go across the main War of the Bounty Hunters comic, the Star Wars comic, Dr. Aphra, Darth Vader, and Bounty Hunters. So if you've been a little bit behind, if you're in Marvel Unlimited, just as a heads up, Twitter will be talking about this issue quite a bit without breaking embargo, it will be a big deal. So this Wednesday, check out the Cosmic Force and make sure to go to your local comic book shop or Comixology and pick that up. Last week, however, we got some more book news as we had a new High Republic show, one of our favorite things on YouTube, hosted by the fantastic Christina Ariel. There was an awesome comics recap at the start of the show. So as we said earlier, if you're a little behind in the comics, specifically the High Republic ones, they did a really cool recap of saying, hey, here's what's going on in the High Republic storyline if you haven't been reading the comics. So if you either aren't a comic reader or money's a little tight, as it is for a lot of folks right now, and you haven't been buying all the comics, but you want to follow along with all the High Republic stuff, check out that High Republic show. They did like a cool motion comic. Did you guys see this? It was they animated it and stuff.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like it would be interesting to see that and on like a semi-permanent basis, like if they were to make some kind of weird show out of that. It was super clever. I loved it.
Yeah, it was super rad. It got you into the kind of the story in a new way with cool narration. And then right after that, they had an interview with Cavan Scott and Ario Anindito, the writer and artist of the comic, who are just, I mean, Cavan's nice. If you're on Twitter, you know Ario's nice. And they were just lovely, very pleasant, and brought you through a lot of the creation of the High Republic comic. So if you've been interested in more behind-the-scenes stuff and, frankly, our new favorite era of Star Wars, maybe, go check that out. Check out their interview. Additionally, one of my favorite things, and I'm going to say they did this because of our show last week, they had a whole display of all the lightsabers of the High Republic, and it looked freaking awesome. Like, every display looked like this. We're about to throw it up on the screen. You had the Jedi, and then you had their lightsaber, and you had a little bit of information about it. I believe the picture we have here is of Bell Zenithar. Yeah, him and Ember. You get concept art. You get other art. That's from the kids' sticker book that came out, and you get their lightsabers. So if you've been reading along with the High Republic and you want to know, what do their lightsabers look like? What are the hilts? What colors? All that kind of stuff. You want to see what Vern's lightsaber whip looks like? It's incredible. Blind Fates in the chat, though, makes a great point. Buryaga has the best one. And did you guys see that? It's like a giant tree with a crossguard.
No, I have not seen this, actually. No, I have not seen this one.
It's rad.
Yeah.
Because lightsabers, you know, as we said last week.
Vern is one of the best Jedi names ever, either. So
yeah, Vernistra Rowe.
Vern.
I love her, man. But that was, of course, was not all that had to do with the High Republic show. They built a Markian Rowe helmet, which is pretty rad. But here at the Living Forest at Youtini, we love the reveals. Of course, we all skipped to the end of the episode, and then we went back. We'll admit it. Because we wanted to see what's coming out that's new. And the first thing that got announced was one of the really cool things that no one knew was coming, which is a brand new limited comic series called Trail of Shadows, written by Daniel Jose Older of Race of Crash Point Tower fame, and art by David Wachter. Daniel Jose Older also writes the High Republic Adventures. And this is a new limited series that's going to be, I think, 5 or 6 issues starting this fall. And it's like a detective story that's spinning out of the Republic Fair in Wave 2, starring these two beautiful characters on screen, Jedi Emmerich Kafter and Cyan Holt, who's a detective that's hired by Chancellor So. And, like, I could use some space cops.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, something I've been asking for a while, even since Disney bought Star Wars, was stuff to exist in the Star Wars universe that really doesn't seem like it has much to do with like the Jedi and stuff. And one of the ideas that I really, really love and I still love is like a buddy cop like kind of show, maybe a show or like some type of in-universe thing that just becomes like a recurring story of like in the inner city Coruscant or something like that, right? I don't know. Like,
Dude, this is 21 Jump Street Star Wars.
Yes,
that's what I want.
This is pretty close. This is pretty close,
Yeah.
and like I'm all about it. And the cover looks great.
And we saw like a one cop in the Clone Wars, I think, like a little pudgy guy with the dark eyebrows.
Oh yeah,
And we were just
exactly,
like,
that guy.
They have cops in Star Wars? Wait a second.
yeah.
Really
Although
bad
that makes
detectives
sense.
that are woefully incompetent.
Roosevelt in the chat makes a great point. The Jedi are kind of space cops,
For sure.
So
For sure.
Kind
you know,
of.
but it'll be fun to see what they do. Again,
Better
that is
trigger
gonna be,
discipline.
yes, that's not even controversial. It's just straight up true.
Sip my drink.
Yeah.
Kermit the Frog style.
That's right, baby. But as a reminder, that will be coming out this fall, and it will involve fallout from the second wave of the High Republic books. So again, you don't have to read everything in the High Republic, but if you are, you're going to get top to bottom a full story. Freaking love it. Now, speaking of the High Republic and the sadness of my personal wallet, we got a lot of book variant covers, which, guys, frankly, we've been asking for a bit. That was one of the best parts of going to conventions, right? Was getting these exclusive covers, like the Master and Apprentice exclusive cover. People almost killed children to get. We're getting them from Target now, and we got 4 variant covers announced for 2 books. And yes, I have pre-ordered all of them that are available just far. But that's
Of course you have.
Leave me alone. But let's show you so you can spend some money as well. All right, first one. This is. Sorry, it's so beautiful. I just stutter as I look at it.
It's so good. It's so good.
This is the Rising Storm from Target. Look at this. Look at it.
Whoever did this is this based on photographs or something? Like it looks very realistic.
Know.
It looks super realistic.
Really
like
good.
That dude in the front looks amazing. Like it looks
Bell Zettifar, front and center, man.
It looks amazing. It's like a freaking photograph. Whoever did this artwork is incredible.
Yeah, and I feel so bad. I didn't write down the name in the outline, but there's all on StarWars.com. They do list the artist, and so this is the Target exclusive. It's got Bell Zettifar if you're on audio. It's got Bell, Indira Stokes, Stellan Gios, Elzar Mann, and the good girl Ember, the Chara Hound, all hanging out here. And I said this on Twitter, but I also just like, for what it's worth, this is one of the biggest releases in all of Star Wars. And front and center is like a young black Jedi with his natural hair.
Yeah, it looks awesome, dude. It looks so good. It looks so good. It looks it's like
you guys.
Real strong, like Finn vibes. Like it seems like
leading as Finn probably should have a little more. But
totally, absolutely. I love it. I'm all about it. And the lizard Great Dane thing. The Charhound. I know. I got to tell you, that is not how I imagined him to look when I read the book.
Yeah,
me neither.
It looks like a friggin' demon, man. Holy crap.
Yeah. I've had that book pre-ordered from Amazon for a while, and then we got that Target exclusive drop, and I had to cancel and get the Target exclusive definitely sent to my house instead.
Yeah. But of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you are pre-ordering it by Amazon through Youtini, don't cancel that one. Get both of them because you love the High Republic. Or better yet, order 3 of them because the next day we got another exclusive after the Target one dropped, which is the out-of-print cover, which might be one of the most beautiful pieces of Star Wars art I've ever seen in my life. This is the wraparound cover.
This is crazy, dude. This looks like what someone in the 90s would imagine a Star Wars video game of their dreams to look like. Like it's insane. Yeah. Like there's so much happening in this image.
Fire on the ground. Like there's already chaos. What is the lion right there on the right?
I don't know. Is some kind of lion? I don't know. He's got like.
I know that answer. The lions are the pets of Chancellor So.
Oh, remember that's what they look like.
That's what they look like.
That's crazy. This guy's spinning his lightsaber in like a shield kind of thing. This battle axe thing. This freaky looking alien we've never seen before. Looks like he's straight out of Treasure Planet over here on the left. Like, I'm telling you, man, this is an incredible cover. This is currently the background of your computer too, Eric. I think I noticed.
Yes, it is. And again, for audio listeners, this is it's from Rising Storm. He's got Stellan Gios is in the front and center, spinning his lightsaber so fast he's got a shield, and he's dual wielding another one. Chancellor Lena So is up top, like directing things, and then we have. Can you bring that picture back one more time for our video people? It looks like we have Jedi riding dragons with lightsabers. Oh my god!
Yes,
top,
I didn't even notice that. Yeah. What is this? This is insane. I love it. And
then, of course, we have Lorna D, the Twi'lek Nihil leader, with like a lightsaber battle axe. And I can't make this up. If you haven't seen this yet, this is from, again, Out of Print, which is a site that does exclusive book covers. They do the Thrawn crazy exclusive editions. This is not available yet. It's available June 29th. It'll include this book cover as well as a tote bag with this design for $50. So keep an eye out for that. I'm sure we will be tweeting out links. We will all be freaking out to make sure we get them. So this was huge. So those are 2 Rising Storm covers.
This would be a really fun giveaway to do as Youtini, I feel like, because it'll probably be kind of hard to get. So
great. We'll do it. We'll say it right here and now.
We should do it.
If you don't get one, we will have a giveaway of the out of print Rising Storm cover. For sure. Done.
Let's do it. There you go.
All right. Hey, it's cheaper than the Thrawn one.
That's right.
Not that that matters, because it's not about money, it's about love. But also, thank you, Patreon. All right. Additionally, which also, for what it's worth, none of our personal covers of these, none of these use Patreon money. These are all our personal money. Not that it super matters, but I feel like we should let you know that. Then we got 2 more covers for Out of the Shadows, which is Justina Ireland's book that's coming out. This is the Target exclusive with Lorna D's face just blown up in terror. Very World War I gas mask vibes.
Yeah, I love that.
Totally.
She's just superimposing. And then this is the Walmart cover, which has Lorna D and 2 other Nile. Again, just Nile-centric covers. That one is not available right now. Just so you all know. Oh, hold on. Roosevelt reminds me of something in the chat about the Rising Storm posters. Rising Storm books. I'm so sorry. The Target version does have a poster with the book of Marquis Rowe, and the out of print version will be signed by Cavan Scott.
Okay. Nice.
So, as a reminder, again, all the information at StarWars.com, but just so you know. But yeah, 4 variant covers got released, and I'm just so stoked because it's so fun. They look so cool. Get whatever you want. The art is incredible. It's the best Star Wars covers we've gotten.
Right. I'm not a huge collector, but I have a shockingly fairly high number of exclusive covers somehow. I don't know how I've acquired them.
Yeah,
I don't seek them out, but I just get them somehow. And these are really, really great. I love these. That wraparound cover, I think I'm gonna have to have. It looks like the Master and Apprentice cover. And
I was aware of the variant covers for comics, right? Because that happens quite a bit. But with books, I've never heard of it until Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's great marketing. So if you have a lot of people probably have
one day
double copies of the book just to get
one
the
day
variant covers,
in
right?
the giant Star Wars Youtini office, we'll have these just around in glass cases on book stands. That'll be the plan. That's the dream.
Corey's been teasing me about this in-person full-time office for 3 years, folks. Don't let him tickle your ears.
You're gonna have to go into the office, Eric. The Youtini office.
Yeah, we don't allow work from home. Sorry, bro.
Oh, God. Well, aside from all that, again, keep your eyes out for those. The Target editions of Rising Storm is already available and Out of Shadows, so go ahead and pre-order those. The out-of-print version of Rising Storm is not available yet. That'll be June 29th, and the Out of the Shadows for Walmart just isn't up yet. We're not sure when that's coming, but we'll try to keep you posted on all our social channels. And, of course, if you want more Youtini content in your life, just a quick shout out to our other shows coming up this week that are live. Wednesday night, I believe Cosmic Force is going to be discussing Darth Vader. Emma in the chat, make sure you correct me if I'm wrong. And on Thursday, Legends Look Back is going to be talking about some art books. So if you've been wanting those specific things, check those out Wednesday and Thursday nights, respectively. And again, all of our live shows are kept on our YouTube channels forever after their stream. And if you're looking to buy any of these books that are not exclusive, and you just want to help support the show, go over to Youtini.com, check out our new release schedule, click on the book you want, and then click on any affiliate link that you feel comfortable with, and then we'll get a little piece of the pie. And of course, if you go to Amazon and you buy that book, anything you put in your cart on that order will help out Youtini. So we'll get a percentage of that charcoal grill or that 84-inch TV you finally pull the trigger on. Feel free when you buy Rising Storm. And as a reminder, of course, Rising Storm and Race to Crash Point Tower, the junior novel, both come out June 29th. You got just about a month, so keep your eyes peeled. All right, next up, we got a couple of book reviews we want to talk about. Wes, you want to handle these, dude?
Sure.
Great.
So, Bree123 read Star Wars Volume 1, The Destiny Path from 2020. She gave it 5 stars. Originally, I was a little shaky about getting into Star Wars comics. There's a plethora of them out there, and I wasn't sure if I could get into them. But once I came across Destiny Path in my local comic book store and heard that it picked up right where The Empire Strikes Back left off, it was immediately something I could identify with. It was really interesting to see Luke struggle with the Force and with himself after learning that Darth Vader is his father. Spoiler alert. Something we never truly see in the movies or shows. Everything in the comic just connects and makes sense in relation to what comes before it. After reading this, I'm officially moved to begin my journey across the Star Wars comic/novel timeline from the beginning. Bottom line, Destiny Path is top-notch and hot fire. Yes, somebody wrote hot fire. I love
it. I love it.
Yeah, I love that review, especially because selfishly, I was on Cosmic Force last week and we talked about volume 2 of that comic series. So I thought that was a nice little tie-in. And if you're just getting into Star Wars comics, that's a really cool way to say it too. You don't have to start with the first Marvel volume from 2015 and work your way all through. If you want some Empire, get some Empire in your life.
Yeah.
Love it.
Totally.
Let's see. Corey, you want to take that second one? Mild spoilers ahead in this review. But again, it's a book that we already did a roundtable on, so I feel good about it. And it's not Bounty Hunt where Wes is just going to start dropping spoilers all over the place.
Yeah, right. So my favorite part of the film was when Darth Vader revealed that he was Luke's father, right? You guys remember that, right? Yeah. All right. Chin L reviewed Victory's Price by Alexander Freed, gave it 5 stars. Probably my favorite Star Wars book. Mild spoilers ahead. Victory's Price bore the challenging task of wrapping up Alphabet Squadron, a trilogy already centered around heavy topics like grief and redemption. By being thought-provoking, emotional, and at the same time decorated with Freed's signature intense battle depiction, it does the job with very few flaws, yet still manages to be unique among all Star Wars media. Character development in the book and in the trilogy are unique to the point that it defies so many conventional tropes. The reward is that characters stand out enough to get me to love them despite disagreeing with many of their decisions. Most notably so, Will, whose final decision is controversial but undoubtedly true to his character. Redemption is heavily discussed through the perspective of Yrica. A lot of melodramatic Star Wars stories, especially the movies, took the easy way out by killing the villain shortly after the brief moment of redemption to avoid the topic. Victory's Price instead bravely faces the difficult question of whether one can or should truly move on from the sins committed. Through Yrica's arc, I got a satisfying answer I think we've ever read on this show. Very good. Very good. Yeah,
very fitting for that book.
Yes, I think the Alphabet Squadron trilogy, and we talked about this in depth when we reviewed that trilogy, but I think the Alphabet Squadron trilogy is arguably the heaviest Star Wars writing I think that may exist. I think so. Emotionally, at least, for sure. It asks more deep questions. It's more technical. Alexander Freed is truly an incredible writer, and if you were not exhausted but also thrilled by reading these books, you didn't do something right. Go back and listen to it in audiobook form maybe, or reread it. But yeah. I totally agree with this. They're really heavy-hitting novels.
There's a link in the description about spoiler talk on StarWars.com where Alexander Freed goes on about his the Alphabet Squadron trilogy. So give that a click if you want to get real into it.
Check that out. And of course, if you want even more Victory's Price talk and you missed it, we did do a 3-part roundtable on it where we got to ask questions about our own existence for 4 hours.
I was so tired. Totally. After that second one, I was like, why? I don't want to go on. It's so heavy.
Which is, of course, a great segue to let you all know that next week, finally, we will be starting our Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good roundtable. So you have one more week and finish that book to go check that out. But if you want your review, whether it's Victory's Price, Greater Good, or anything else read on this show, look up your book on Youtini.com, look for the book profile, and then scroll down to the bottom. You can add a star rating and your own user review, and we'll try to read it on the show. All right. We're about to go talk about Star Wars Burnout, what it is, how to avoid it, and keep the love in your Star Wars reading habits. But before we do, let's show you what Jose has been working on for some awesome new Youtini merch. We'll be right back. All right. Jose, Joxy, great work as always with those designs. As always, you can go to youtini.com/merch. Check out our newest shirts, our water bottle, our pint glass. whatever you want to show everyone in your life this random Star Wars website that you love. All right. So today's main topic is how to avoid Star Wars burnout. And this is a bit of an odd one because we wanted to highlight some things. Today, as we're recording, is May 31st, and May was Mental Health Awareness Month. And this can take many shapes of protecting your own mental health, including burnout. So guys, before we talk about some specifics, I just want to ask you straight up, how would you describe Star Wars burnout?
Good question.
This is a concept.
This is an interesting. I love this topic. So Eric gave me permission to basically choose this week's topic. And I was horrible. I didn't have any ideas whatsoever. Because I'm about to be on night shift for a lot of the future, right? I'm not going to be here the next 2 weeks, and then I think I have a week, and then I don't know. There's some weird mix of the next next 2 months is going to be pretty touch and go, which is crappy. So, and then somebody, I think Charles, was it Charles or was it your idea, Eric? I can't remember whose idea it was. I want to give someone credit.
It was mine because we built a list of topics a while back.
That's right.
When we talked, and then this was one of them. And I'm like, oh.
Yes.
This seems like it might work.
This is a fantastic topic. I love this topic because this is something that like speaks really true to, I think, all of us at Youtini in general, because not only do we experience all of the Star Wars content that's released in the form of books and TV shows and movies, but we also sort of work it, right? Like it's like there are times when I will confidently say that most of the time, like we do stuff at Youtini, it doesn't really feel like work. Like it's just all of us hanging out, being friends, talking about stuff. But there is definitely times in which it feels like work, right? Like we have to build this podcast, we have to fix all the screens, like we have to arrange everything and organize everything and send emails. Like there's times that it's work, like, right? So I think us at the show and at the company sort of experience burnout differently than I guess the average moviegoer would experience it. But I would call Star Wars burnout. You don't look forward to the next thing, right? Like you enjoy everything, but like it takes you a lot to get going. And I personally sometimes experience this when I'm reading books, right? Like it will take me a really long time to get me through the first 5 chapters of the book. Like once I'm through those first 5 chapters, I'm hooked. And I will blow through that crap in like 3 days, right? I love it. And I absorb it. But there's something about just like diving in. I'm like, oh, I got a round table. I got to read it. And come on, it's due in 3 weeks. Like, I don't know what it is about that. Maybe it's just the fact that we have to get it done, like for the show. But some looming principle like makes it sometimes really hard for me to read the books. And I think that, however you describe that sensation, is what Star Wars burnout is, right? It's that, like, you want to do it, you enjoy it, every single thing that comes out, but like your eyes are not just like peering towards it all the time, right? You want to be looking at other things.
Yeah,
totally.
I mean, knowing you have a deadline, right, kind of puts you in that burnout phase. Because back when we were younger, right, and you were reading just any Star Wars book, you read it for fun, and then when you were done with that one, you picked up another one, and then kind of along the lines with us, we get the new books in and we read them and do the round table, and then it's kind of like a rotating wheel, and it can get hectic. I'm not gonna lie, but yes, I mean it's like an oversaturation, right? But the weird thing is, and you would think that with us that we talk about Star Wars, we prep for the Star Wars podcast, and when we're done with it, we just want to go hang out on the couch and say like watch sports or watch TV show or something. Yeah.
I'm so tired. I don't want to do right.
I don't want to do anything else but watch Star Wars.
I know,
when
man.
I'm done with this podcast
every single time. Every single time. Yes. Yeah. Like you would think we would be super turned off from it, but like I don't know. There's something about this universe that is just so enticing, man. Like, and it sucks you in. It sucks you in, and it's really funny. Sorry to I want to hear your answer too, Eric, and the chat too. Let me know what you guys. What do you think about Star Wars burnout? Like, what does it look like for you? I did a little bit of brief research about this topic, like reading about Star Wars burnout, because we saw this a lot about the time a little while after The Last Jedi was released, right? Because there was a very loud minority opinion. The Last Jedi was terrible, and we all experienced that. And there was a lot of like clickbaity stuff that was posted online at the time from Forbes and it is these large news outlets and stuff about like fans are sick of Star Wars, type of crap. And it's like, And like every single time, I found a lot of Reddit posts and things about like, is anybody else burnt out on Star Wars? And especially around the time The Mandalorian came out, when they were announcing all this show and stuff. And the answer from the internet, shockingly, like I don't think I came across a single instance in which it wasn't, no, dude, you're wrong. The Mandalorian's incredible. Like,
yeah, right.
So I think that Star Wars burnout is something that people experience, but once you, like Wes, you put it really well. Like once you get in just a little bit, it just goes away entirely, just because the content is so rich. It really is.
Yeah, it's the idea of it, because I think those are all just freaking phenomenal points. Because Star Wars burnout, I think, is this, again, it's a weird phrase intrinsically, because Star Wars is a fun thing. Like it is a media thing that we love, and it is a universe that we love. That's how it starts, right? That's the only reason we read these things, watch these things, and that's why we do this show. And burnout is definitely like it starts from overextension, over promising things and feeling things like an obligation. But that also, of course, doesn't even apply just to us that do this show.
Right.
Like you people that listen to us and watch us and things like that, you can experience Star Wars burnout for a couple reasons. And a large reason why I wanted to do this show, in addition to us discussing from our point of view, is to kind of just be that voice in your ear if you need it, that it's okay if you're a little tired. Because in a week or in a month, let's say a month of Star Wars content, we will now get probably 4 episodes of an animated show or live action show. You'll get at least an issue of High Republic Adventures, Star Wars Adventures, Vader, Afra, regular Star Wars, Bounty Hunters, and now the War of the Bounty Hunters event, if not more. You'll get a couple High Republic books, perhaps, in addition, maybe a Thrawn book, maybe a Rebellion book. So there's just a lot of content, right? And if you get to a point where you're like, I'm reading all this, I'm watching all this, and I feel guilty because I haven't watched it all, that can burn you out.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Like, I'm missing something.
Yeah,
I'm a bad
especially
fan.
When FOMO hits, or I think that's a large part of what it really affects us. Is like it's the other emotions not related to the content that hit you. Like it's the guilt of not having read enough of the book because we have a roundtable coming up, right? So we have like negative human emotions that are sinking into us that are not necessarily related to the content, right? And I think that's what caused a lot of burnout for me early on with like The Force Awakens, right? I will never forget the feeling I had when I found out that there were a lot of people that hated The Force Awakens. Like it hurt me bad, man. It sucks, man, and it hurt so bad, and that burned me out weirdly. I didn't want to watch it for a little while, and I went through that cycle that I think a lot of people go through with like the Last Jedi and stuff. I did that with Force Awakens of like people hated it, and maybe I was wrong, so I felt embarrassed. Maybe I felt guilty. Like it's just other emotions that were sort of tied to it that made me get like that. Of like not really sure if I wanted to keep going with it for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it was weird.
Yeah. Which leads me to actually the first point, which is community, that I think is involved in a lot of burnout in both ways, right? Because community in Star Wars is so intrinsically cool, because that's what it's all been built on since the beginning. Was who did you see the movies with? Who did you talk about it at recess with? Like, or who did you find the first time that also read a Star Wars book? Like, it's very much built on people. And with social media, there are good parts. Like, obviously, we all found each other online. None of us at Youtini have ever met. A lot of people in the Discord, I would be surprised if they were friends outside. But we found each other through a community that loved this thing we loved. On the flip side, like the core you were saying, a lot of people that dislike certain things have now created toxicity or enhanced negativity in a community. Even if they're not being bad towards someone, it is always easy to find someone saying the things you love sucks. And that is mentally, it takes a toll. And even if you are a person that's like, I don't care what people say on the internet, like, it's okay to acknowledge that subconsciously it hurts when someone says they don't love a thing you love.
Yeah.
So I think that when you're trying to read all these books and read all these comics, you get momentum. Oh, I love this. High Republic's great. And then you see a thing that's like, no, it's not. That can stop you in your tracks. And then you can start thinking, wait, am I putting all this work in? Again, work, because it's reading. It takes time. Am I putting this work in for something that actually isn't good.
Right. Yeah.
And even if it's not true, it halts you, you know?
That's a really good point, Eric.
Yeah, that is a really good point. You know, something else very interesting that I want to get your opinion on that I came across a lot when I was just kind of browsing Reddit and looking around on the internet and all these Forbes articles. And so I always reference Forbes. Why does Forbes write so many articles about Star Wars fandom? It's really weird. I don't understand why
Forbes.
Forbes
Finance.
specifically, like seriously, I don't know. Anyway, something I came across a lot is the fundamental question, which raises a lot of sort of philosophical points to me, is there such thing as too much Star Wars? What do you guys think?
No, but I have a reason.
Okay.
I think the only time there's too much Star Wars is if every person has to think that every single piece of Star Wars media is made for them and they have to get it all.
Ooh, that's a good point.
Because the beauty of Star Wars is that every single age group and every single kind of person gets stories. Like us at Youtini, like I'm going to read Race to Crash Point Tower, Out of the Shadows, Rising Storm, all before they get released because I have to write reviews. And frankly, that's what I choose to do with my life. But like, I haven't seen all the Freemaker adventures. I haven't seen all of Forces of Destiny. I didn't watch Resistance, but like there are certain people that loved all of that. And if you want to be a person that watches all of it, that's great. Yeah. And if you want to be a person that watches all of Clone Wars, you're probably going to get a few more cameos in The Mandalorian, right? But I think the brilliance of Star Wars creation nowadays is that it all connects if you want it to, if you're an Alex Damon or if you're one of us that all can and stuff. But also you can just pick the stuff you want and pick the parts of the universe that you want to love up to your comfort level. And that's fine. Yeah. That's all you have to do. So when I hear that there's too much Star Wars, who cares about all this? It's like, man, there's still some people that haven't watched any Star Wars since Rise of Skywalker, and that's fine. Yeah. That's okay. But it doesn't mean that those of us that can't wait for every single issue of Dr. Aphra don't then deserve a comic series.
Yeah. Wes, any thoughts? Can there be too much Star Wars?
Well, I was thinking, yes, there could be too much Star Wars if it degrades the product, right? And but now that, I mean, now that I heard what Eric said, who's to say that it degrades the product, right? It just couldn't be for me. It could be for somebody else.
Yep.
So, like, I mean, like in the crawl, it's a galaxy wide, so it's huge. It's everything. It's like that running joke with Star Wars where every character you've ever seen ever in a movie has its own backstory, and that has a backstory. So there's a story with everything, and so ultimately, I mean, so no, you can't have too much Star Wars.
Yeah, you know, Eric, I think we need to catchphrase what you just said, like and put it on a T-shirt, like the Star Wars universe. There's something for everybody, but it's not all for everyone.
But it's not always you. Like, make it personal, make it aggressive.
Yes, it's not always you. Yes, and you know, I think that's what I mean when I say that's an interesting philosophical thought. Is can there be too much Star Wars? Because, like, I think a very healthy way to digest this universe is to think about it in its sheer size, right? And like, it's very easy. The reason Youtini exists in the first place is it's very easy to feel overwhelmed with the size of this universe, with the sheer number of books and TV shows and comics, and like the very entry feels enormous. And like, even once you're in, like we're in very, very deep, right? We've read all these books and comics, and we've run a company, like we're in really, really deep. But even then, like, you have to have a healthy distance, I think, from like everything. Like, you can't consume everything. And if you have to consume every single thing and you have to love every single thing, you're going to be disappointed eventually. And you have to have
are you doing that? And are you doing that just because it's such a specific point? Like, you got to ask yourself, are you doing that because you want to? Or are you doing that because you think you're supposed to?
Right, because you're not a good enough fan, right? You're not a big enough fan. You're not a true Star Wars fan if you've not read everything, right? That's not true. Like, there is something for everybody, but maybe it's not all for you. And that's perfectly acceptable and healthy way to live. And I think as long as you can continue to experience the universe in bits at a time where you don't feel like you have to just absolutely love everything, I think that makes burnout less likely to happen. Right.
I completely agree. And Charles in the chat we miss you, buddy. I hope you're doing well. He does say, in all seriousness, how to avoid the burnout is to not gatekeep in that way, like fighting people on Twitter about what's good and what's not. It just drains you out of your joy for the things that you love. And again, I think that it all goes to choice, because we did it a couple shows ago. We even talked about the Star Wars books we haven't read, right? Like, we run a company based on Star Wars, and we have a ton of books we haven't read. We have a ton of comics we've never read, and that's okay, because as long as you're consuming what you want to at your own pace, it helps you. Which brings me to the next point. I think that helps avoid burnout, which is finding a community of people that accept the pace at which you want to go, which is why I'm so thankful that we have such a good community, both in our own personal company, but then also in our Discord, because I've seen people throughout the last couple of years on Discord that have been going through their backlogs, right? That, okay, I missed this book when it came out and I've wanted to, and no matter what they're reading, they post it in the Legends Books forum or the comics or whatever. There's always someone that's like, oh yeah, I'll talk to you about that.
Yeah, always.
And that's such a special thing with Star Wars, because there's always going to be someone that likes the thing you're currently reading that will want to talk to you about it.
Right.
And I think that's a great way to avoid burnout, is to make you not feel isolated, not feel like you're alone.
Yeah.
That, oh no, everyone else has read, Kenobi. Oh,
Right.
okay, I guess I'll read it by myself. No, jump into the Legends chat.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I'm reading this. What does everyone else think? And get that little endorphin boost of your friends that will say, yeah, what'd you think about that?
And a lot of us feel jealous of you getting to read that for the first time.
Yes.
We're like, you're experiencing those feelings that we had longer, that we've probably forgotten about and wish we could have again, reading Kenobi, for example. So that's fun to talk about.
And I think that is one of the coolest things about the sort of nature of Star Wars media, is that it's kind of permanent, right? I mean, it's, you can, in the age of streaming services, good Lord, you can go watch everything over and over again. Like, you buy a book and it's in print on your shelf, you can pick it up and read it. Like, Star Wars isn't like defined by clickbait, right? Like, it's like, there seems like every single time a new Star Wars thing comes out, there's all this clickbait crap about it. Like, you have to experience right as it's released, but like, that's not true. Like, you don't have to digest every single thing, like, as soon as it comes out to be in this community, right? And I think that's one of the coolest things about our community, is that there is no sense of that gatekeeping at all, because we've done such a strong amount of work around this anti-gatekeepy culture, because it really only hinders everybody else's experience if you're like that, right? And the fact that they're re-releasing like all these Legends books and these new prints, and you can re-experience those, and these new people are gonna pick these books up for the first time. People are gonna read Darth Plagueis for the first time. It's like, it's gonna be mind-blowing, man. It's awesome. It's so awesome that this has such lasting value and stuff. So, to answer my own question, I don't really think there's such a thing as too much Star Wars, because the sheer volume of content we have, the enormity of the universe, is what makes it so fun to escape to. Is because, like, you feel like a little blue dot. You ever seen that video? The little blue dot, I think is what it's called, of like, it's talking about the state of humans being in space in this enormous galaxy. You ever see it?
What's that thing?
Yeah, it's a really famous video. Look it up on YouTube if you want to get your mind blown and make you feel like you're not worth anything at all.
We'll balance.
That's what it feels like to participate in this community, is that, like, we're just one small person in this enormous galaxy experiencing this one moment of Star Wars content. And I think as long as you can have that healthy distance, is feeling like this one little thing is just part of the picture, then I don't think it's possible to have too much Star Wars.
Yeah, and on that, you talk about the distance. I want to get a little more personal with you all for a little bit, because one thing that we always try to do on this show is we love the books. We'll tell you what we want. Like, we are, to an extent, performing this show for you, but we also want to let you know, like, who you're dealing with, and want to be truly honest with you guys about our own periods of potential burnout. Because I think that if you're going through a point where, like, I don't want to read a Star Wars book today, I just want to, like, play basketball, I just want to do a thing. There's absolutely been times, especially in the history of Youtini, where each of us have taken a step back here and there. Like, I remember what I want to bring up for myself, and then Corey, I want to throw to you. There was a point where I was writing every review we did. I was feeling like, I got this book, I got to read it as quick as I can to get my thoughts in, to get it down. And even the books I was excited about, started to feel like a time capsule. Like if I don't get this done, it's not getting written, and it's my opinion, and I gotta get it on the site. And it started to get a little bit stressful for this thing that I love, for this thing that is my favorite thing to do, which is talk about Star Wars and read Star Wars books. So I came to Corey. This is a couple of Youtini iterations ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I think I need a little help. Like I'm loving Star Wars, but I'm falling behind. So we created a review team. And now there was a team of people who I love and trust. And we read the books, and I get to assign the reviews. I do some, and then some of our other writers do others, and there's input from everyone, and it's a group effort. And just that little like dilation of my own responsibility was something that I found I needed to now 10,000% enjoy reading Star Wars books. Like it is that little, it was such an easy fix, but it's something that you had to do to realize it. And Corey, like last year, you literally took a step back for a couple weeks to recharge.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. I can be the best and the worst member of this company.
You're
right?
always
like,
the best.
I
will hear no slander.
That is factually incorrect. I mean, it's, we don't talk about this that much on the show, but like, I started Youtini, right? So I have a lot of personal ties to it, right? And yes, I do technically control everything that we do, right? I mean, I do have the final say. My name's in the bank accounts, right? Like it's mine. That's
really the deal. Yeah.
It is my baby, right? It is. But like, I can be the glorious leader that leads a fiery charge, but I can also just be incredibly lazy and be like, everybody else needs to just figure this out, and it's gonna be fine, and it doesn't matter. And I definitely experience cycles, like personally, of like I will dive in and put 100 hours in a single week into Star Wars, right? And
the Youtini timeline.
Yes, the Youtini timeline, like, and rebuild an unbelievable amount of website. And everybody's like, "How are you a doctor and able to do this?" I'm like, "I don't sleep. It's great, right?" So, and
not great.
Yeah, that's not great. Yeah, so it definitely comes in waves, right? And that's life, man. Life happens like that. It's gonna come in waves. Like, Star Wars should not be your identity. It shouldn't, right? Like, it should be something that you enjoy and experience as part of a community, and it should teach you a lot of lessons. And the nature of how we do our community should teach you a lot of lessons about like what it's like to enjoy things, right? How to choose joy in this community, how to avoid toxicity, right? There are all these lessons in this fandom, right? But like, don't let it define you. Don't let it be the only thing that you have. You should seek to do other things. So we all do that, right? And we have some fun photos I want to show you here in a second.
Yeah. And I just want to say before we get to that, this is also coming from guys like, I have a freaking Millennium Falcon on my tricep. Like, this is like Star Wars, and I have a X-wing on my inner arm. Like, this is a large part of who we are.
Yeah, sure.
But what we do, so even us though, we're saying like, if you get to that point where you do burn out at things, and you need to either ask for help from friends, be like, hey man, like Star Wars is getting me down, take a step back. It's
do something
perfectly
else.
Okay.
Go read Marvel comics, right? There's so many other nerd fandoms for specifically if you want to do nerd stuff. Like, Dune.
Read the
oh my god, I tried so hard to read
I
Dune.
Also tried.
Oh man, you were talking about feeling guilty. Holy crap! I've never listened to 2 hours of an audiobook and still had no idea what's happening. But that happened to me. That happened to me with Dune. I'm like, what?
Did
they charge you double on Audible for Dune because it's so damn long?
They should.
They should try it. But yeah, you know what? Let's do it. So we love freaking Star Wars. We read all these books. I know. I at least read all the comics, but we do other things too. So Corey did give us an assignment today, and he said, "All right, we're going to talk about other things we like to do, because we should be able to talk about things that we like to do in this community. We have channels in Discord that are all about pictures of our pets, live sports, video games. Like, we have these things because we want to have friends in other places." And yeah, Corey, you decided to that we should show other people what we love to do.
I said you have to have evidence.
Evidence, hard evidence, or at least Google Photos.
We talk a lot about, we have a private Slack channel, just the four of us do, and there are several folks on our team that have their own private Slack channels, which I have so discovered over the years. Some of them are private, some of them are just like private DMs. They just keep open all the time. We used to do that back in the day. We decided to make it a channel. We have a private Slack channel, and we talk about stuff going on in our lives and our relationship problems and our job problems, and
we're actually friends.
Our hobbies, imagine that, right? And we don't really talk about anything except Star Wars on this show, so I thought it would be fun to kind of show some of the other goofy stuff that we have going on in our lives, and we have some pictures of stuff that we do in our lives. Eric, we can start with you. I have yours pulled up.
I don't know the order. Let's find out.
Here's your little
all
collage, I guess you created for us.
So this is the thing that I've found throughout my life is my go-to, and it seems simple, it seems obvious, but it's just video games. Like, I am a person, I don't play like Call of Duty, I don't play Fortnite, like I don't do a lot of multiplayer stuff, but I do just love getting into a single player game, putting on my headphones, and I can do this for hours. Like the ones on the collage, if you're all listening, like I played Horizon Zero Dawn, Mass Effect, and Cyberpunk 2077 this last year, and God of War, which I meant to put on there instead of Titanfall, which is a great game. But at a time when we were getting a lot of Star Wars books, like this was before we had this month break we have right now, we're reading all these books, but there were days where I took days off of work and I just sat in my chair and I muted Slack, I muted Twitter, and I just played a video game for like 13 hours. And it's like
awesome.
And it was just so calming. Like, I love doing that. And I play Star Wars games. I play Battlefront, I play Squadrons. But I love these other universes and these single player things. Like, I love getting resources and I love the fighting the enemies. And it's always just been a source of calm for me. And no matter how old I get the new consoles, I get the new stuff. And it's not even just so I can connect and play multiplayer. Sometimes I just want to shut the world out and play a narrative that way instead of reading one on a page.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's funny enough. That's something that all four of us on the show share, is we all played video games and we come and go. I know I certainly do. And I think in the last year or two, I've definitely played more games than I have in the past. And Wes, I know you've played a lot of games too before. And Charles told us that he had taken some time and played a whole bunch of video games for like 3 days straight. We're like, whoa, Charles, like,
yes,
you don't ever get to do that, man. It's awesome. And I think you're right, Eric. There's something about, like, I think maybe that's what self-care is for dudes.
It is self-care. It's such a real thing. Like,
you just
it's
chill.
Give
yourself permission to like turn off all your responsibilities for a little bit, and don't feel guilty.
You want.
Don't feel guilty for not listening to the Thrawn audiobook. Just play Satisfactory for 14 hours straight. No problem, right?
Like, none of your hobbies, and I'm still trying to get through this. Because again, I have books I want to read, I have shows I want to read, but I have video games I want to play. None of your hobbies should bring you guilt.
Yeah.
If you love a thing, you shouldn't be trying to stressfully stay awake and finish it. If you want to stay up till 3 a.m. finishing Light of the Jedi with a flashlight under your covers, that's rad if you like it. But just because Youtini has a roundtable coming up, you shouldn't feel like you have to. Like, that's not going anywhere. The game you have in your console isn't going anywhere. You don't have to finish it in 4 days or else you're going to be in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, they should be bringing you joy. These are hobbies. These are fun things like that. So video games definitely do that to me. Be nasty. I see you about Red Dead. He said, I'll get on Red Dead and just ride my horse around for hours. When I played Red Dead 2, I went fishing so much. I just went fishing in a video game.
Eric, have you ever been fishing in real life?
I have.
Have you really?
When I was young. Yeah,
I'm surprised to hear that.
And four-wheeling.
Wes, that is a really good transition, I think, because one of your hobbies is fishing, right?
That's true. Yes.
Tell us. So before, a little context, funny, before the show started, I said, Wes, looking at these photos, it is a flipping miracle that you're even here doing this Star Wars podcast with us every week, because like you have all these super country redneck hobbies and I freaking love it. Tell us about your fishing hobbies.
Well, so my fishing hobby here, I live in Katy, Texas, so I'm an hour-ish, like hour and a half away from the coast on like two different sides. So like there's the Galveston side and there's the Matagorda side. So Matagorda Bay is right in this picture, and that's where I usually go. And probably for the past 11, 12 years, I would go twice, 2 weekends a month, maybe. I would go down there either hunting or I go fishing. But kind of like you said, Eric, I mean, along the same lines, this the aspect of it anyways, is turning everything off and getting out and doing your hobby and feeling good about it. But like waking up early, say 4 a.m., getting out on the boat and then getting in the water and it's perfectly still. There's no sound. You see the sun come up and then you can hear fish like chasing after bait fish, but it's completely quiet. You can hear people from like tens like 30 miles away from you. You can hear them perfectly talking. It's insane.
Wow.
I have found that as I get older, right? As I get out of my 20s, a lot more of my hobbies have gone towards calming things. Even the games I play, like they're actiony, but the games I love are the ones that have the quiet moments of emotion. And like I like when I read, I put on like lo-fi. It's like my hobbies have brought me more calm. And I don't know if that's because life has gotten more stressful or because as I gotten older, I have valued peace more.
Yeah.
But I find that very interesting.
I mean, we like briefly talked about that an episode or two ago about like how we live in the age of entertainment where like every moment is you feel like you have to fill every single moment with some kind of entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Like I even have a stand in my shower. I think I said this. I have a stand in my shower that I can watch a YouTube video while I'm taking a shower.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man! Like, can you have 10 minutes in the shower, like peace and quiet?
I gotta have a podcast on in the shower.
Same,
It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I bet you guys don't listen to podcasts while you're playing video games or while you're fishing. I bet that doesn't happen.
I have a buddy that does that. I do not, but I have a buddy that does that. But all right, so we got.
When I take my kayak out in the little sloughs on our property, on the lease we have, I have one earbud in, listen to podcasts while I fish. It's great. I love it.
I love
Sounds great. So we got video games, we got fishing. So Corey,
I got something.
you're up to bat, man.
I like to build stuff. I have lots of building related hobbies. I built this pergola outside my house last year.
That's super cool.
Yeah, like I'm like I don't like to call myself a Renaissance man. Like a Renaissance man is, you've heard the term before, right? It's somebody who tries everything, feels like they're good at everything, like they have a million hobbies. I kind of fit that depiction, but I don't like to think of myself as a Renaissance man because like I'm not actually good at anything. I could just hack my way through life, all right?
You have accidentally taught yourself while in medical school how to code an entire website and build a house.
I mean, you're right. Yes, it is correct. Like I feel like I can learn how to do anything with the help of the internet. Like I really do. Like I've wired stuff in my house. I put a new circuit breaker in last like 2 months ago and put a new heater in my home gym, which I have a picture of. Like you can learn anything on the internet, man. And I really enjoy the principle of life that there's nothing I can't do. It's really freeing to think about that. Now, that doesn't mean, just to clarify, that doesn't mean that there's nothing that I can't do well, because I have a million life lessons of like, I've attempted this project. It's cost me $1,000 more than it would have if I just hired somebody to do it. But like, I really enjoy the principle of it's like a thrill of like not knowing how to do something, like taking the plunge and forcing yourself to do it, even though it's scary, even though you're messing with the freaking circuit breaker box in your house and there's, a million volts of electricity coming in that big black wire. So you got to put cardboard over those and don't touch it with a screwdriver because you might kill yourself. Like there's something thrilling about that there's, I could pay somebody to come help me do this. It'll take them a month to get here and all this stuff. But like, there's something thrilling about not knowing if you can do something and then figuring out that you can do the
right? The knowledge and the journey, right? The journey is actually getting it done.
It's really fun.
B Nasty says something interesting in the chat here as we're discussing these other hobbies or things we love to do. He said it's kind of the same thing for like filler that people complain about. We talk about that with some of the episodes of animated shows, things like that. So sometimes you have to disconnect, and not everything has to be a huge priority. Not everything has to tie to this giant plan. I never thought about it that way with like some of these things we consume in our hobbies. And to bring it back to our Star Wars things, sometimes it's not all about go, go, go. Sometimes they also need these times in their lives.
Yeah,
I love that.
Saying it's like the journey is a really important concept to have. Like another one of my hobbies I don't have any photos of, but like I've been teaching myself guitar, right? This year. I do still actually do that. I know I mentioned that on a podcast several months ago, but I think something like learning an instrument, especially for somebody like me who has a million hobbies, who tries everything, right? Like there's a lot of guilt associated with music for me, right? I have a lot of guilt about I'm not practicing enough, I'm not playing, and I think learning an instrument is something that you really do have to do regularly. So like, it's okay to make your hobbies like not a huge priority, I guess. Yeah. Right. It's okay to be like, I'm going to build this thing. I'm going to play guitar. I'm going to learn all this stuff for a month or two. And then I'm going to take up a little break and then I'm going to come back to it. And, I'm trying to be a little more diligent about it, playing every week and stuff like that. But like, come and go from your other stuff. Come and go from Star Wars. Like Charles said in the chat earlier that Youtini is going to be here and we'll catch you up when you get back. Don't feel guilty for not listening to every single episode of Living Force, right? Don't feel guilty for that. Just do some of it here and there.
This is the worst business episode we've ever done, but also maybe the most important personal. Like these books, which is again we're gonna end on. We'll repeat this at the end, but the books are books. They're written, and once they're printed,
they're gonna be there forever, man.
Yeah. The books will be done. The podcast will be here. Like we find that there are. It's funny when you look at the analytics of our show. Like the round tables often don't get as many listens at the start as most of our other episodes. But there are people each month that are still going back to the Master and Apprentice or going back to the first Thrawn. But like, take your time and go back and listen to our dumb voices talk about it whenever you want. If that's something you would like to do, don't feel like you have to rush because of some artificial timetable that we put out for you or anyone else puts out for you. It's your hobby. It's what you love to do. And when you feel that you want to do it, it'll be there, which I think is beautiful.
You know who else will be there?
All right. So I didn't put
Eric's dog Morden.
This is for the analytics right here. This is all for those clicks. So yeah, I was thinking about hobbies, and Charlie brought up a great point that one of my hobbies truly is hanging out with my dog and taking him for walks and living with him. And so this is Morden. If any of y'all do not know, he's my 11-and-a-half-year-old corgi. I've had him for years through moves. And whenever life's getting a little too much and I'm either feeling burnt out on stuff or like I'm not doing quite enough, just taking some time to just sit on the couch with my dog. It sounds simple. It sounds like it makes sense. It does so much for me mentally. It does so much for my anxieties to just know that he's there, know that he's around, and like not saying like, hey, I don't have time for you. I got to watch this show. I don't have time for you. I got to read this book or I got to do this thing. Like sometimes just being with this little guy becomes the hobby that centers me and really helps me out. And I think for a lot of us, pets can serve that same function. Like we all got pets on here.
Man, they love you so unconditionally. It's just incredible. They really do. Like it warms it warms my heart and also brings me great fear every time I let the dogs out without a leash. I'm like I don't know what I would do without them. Like it's horrible. Like they're like children, but yeah.
I look at Doc, my chocolate lab, when he stares at me, and I'm just like talking his voice. I'm just like, I love you. I love you so much.
We all do that.
I love you so much.
We all absolutely do.
I don't know anything but love for you.
Yeah. Eric, I have your last one here too. Is your what do you use? Is this your D&D game? What is this?
Yeah, so this was me this last weekend because me and my friends finally all got fully vaccinated, waited our time. Go get vaccinated if you haven't yet. It's great. 10 out of 10 recommend. For the first time in over a year, I had a D&D group that met in person. We've been doing it on Zoom, and it's been fine. It's been fine. This past Saturday, I kid you not, this is not hyperbole. We played for 9 hours straight without a break.
Oh my God, that is my dream. That is my dream, dude. Every single time I play a tabletop game, I'm like, I wish I had 3 solid days to do this and not think about anything else. Like,
and it was great. And like, these are friends of mine that they're obviously they're nerds. We're playing Dungeons and Dragons, but like, it wasn't about anything else immediate. It wasn't about Star Wars. It wasn't about Marvel stuff. It wasn't about any other fandoms. It was just in a new world. Playing this and playing actively this thing. That's one of the things I've loved to do for years. I've played D&D and associated role-playing games for years. Like we did the Star Wars RPG way back in the day, Youtini. Maybe someday we'll do a one-shot thing. but it has become a thing that allows me to be social with people while playing a game and creating a universe. And it's something that is not connected anywhere I go, but was still something I loved doing for 9 hours straight. And if you have a group of friends, it's hard to start a game. It is hard to find a time. And we've been playing for 2 years this campaign.
That is a miracle that's even possible.
Yeah, we played for 9 hours. There was wine. There was chips and guac. It was it was astounding. And I could have spent all that time reading a Star Wars books. And I had planned to initially spend that day reading Star Wars. And my friend was like, hey, do you have this day free? We can do this. Everyone else is ready. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's go for it. And that's also okay. Like, don't feel beholden to one hobby over another.
Yeah. That's a good
because
point.
they won't know about it. They're not going to get angry at you, which also works in reverse. If you're reading a Star Wars book you love and your friend's like, hey, come hang out with me. It's been a while. You can say, hey, I'm reading this book, Also perfectly cool.
Yeah.
Speaking of doing things with people, Wes, tell us about your softball team. What the hell is the name of your team? What does that say?
Okay. We are the green jerseys, so our team name is the Pickled Cucumbers.
Yes, I remember this.
Story behind that: a buddy of ours he sells pickled onions and like pickled eggs and like pickled everything. He sells eggs. He's got a little farm, so he's like, we also have pickled cucumbers, and I was like, so you got pickles? You're selling pickles? And he's like, well, yeah, but okay. So that ended up being the team name like the next week, and then they made jerseys for everybody. And anyways,
it has Pickle Rick on it.
Yeah.
Pickled cucumbers. That's the most Texas thing I've ever heard in my life.
The guys in the green jerseys and the guys in the blue with the star jerseys are kind of our main team. And some of these other guys that are on here that have different jerseys are pickups because they're better than us. And this was at a tournament, so you pick up better players on your team, so you get a high. So they get you in the higher seed of the tournament. But
beautiful.
It's like a social club, right? So I play softball Wednesdays and Sundays, and we get together a lot, if not everybody, is drinking the entire time. Everybody's just having a good time.
That's amazing.
Wait, we should say you don't have to drink for all your other hobbies, but if you want to, it's great.
It certainly seems to make all of them better, except for the electrical panel stuff. Don't do that shit while you're drinking. I shit you not. When I replaced that circuit, it's the first time I've ever messed with like an electrical panel box. I made Caitlin stand next to me. Like literally right next to me, far enough away that she wouldn't get hit with electricity, but next to me, I said, I want you to watch me because if I like get shocked and I'm unconscious, I need you to call 911 immediately.
That's marriage, folks.
And she's like, "Oh my God, are you sure you should be doing this?" I'm like, "No, I'm not sure." But in case I nearly died, this is how you do CPR. that happened. Oh my God!
Which you can also learn on the internet, right, Corey?
Which you can absolutely learn on the internet. Okay, speaking of mildly health-related things, I do have what I would like to call a fairly impressive home gym in my basement, which I'm now convinced that I never want to live without. Like fitness has been a pretty big part of my life for a long time. This is, something else that I think people feel immense guilt over is not working out, not exercising. Oh, excuse me, good Lord. Beer.
All right.
Okay. As I burp my giant beer belly.
Vile.
Yeah. What? I'm so sorry. We need to edit that out.
We don't edit these. Come on.
We don't edit these. Yeah. All right. Anyway, fitness.
Sorry,
I'm so fit. Alcohol. Yeah. My home gym. I'm pretty pleased with. I was a personal trainer in college. I really enjoy working out. It's something I get a lot of joy out of. But yeah, it's one of those things that yeah, admittedly, I won't get down there for 3 weeks at a time. And there's like, man, this is my basement. I hate it. I need to get down there and work out. People feel a lot of guilt over it. But exercise is not the answer to everything. Here's my professional doctor opinion, for real. If you want to lose weight, you want to be healthy, all of those things are made in the kitchen. They're not made in the gym, right? Like getting extra bone mass and strength training is really great for your bones and bone development and that sort of thing. The muscles and the size of them is highly related to metabolism and how much energy you consume on a daily basis. But contrary to popular belief, exercise outside of training for bone development is not necessarily that crucial for health, right? Like eating better is a much more important thing. So I think I know you heard it here. I think
this is the Star Wars you turn in for.
I think we tend to like feel like we have to work out all the time, but like it's something that I get a lot of joy out of. You get all those good hormones flowing when you work out, but it's not something I feel like you have to do literally every single day. Otherwise, you're not a healthy person, right? So
I buy a lot of things, and I have a lot of great ideas when I'm in the middle of my workout.
Oh, dude, me too, man. Me too. Me too. Yes. Although I will say I don't have a picture of it. I'm pretty proud of this. With our stimulus check for my reward for being an everyday hero of the COVID era, right? Because I'm a doctor working in the hospitals with COVID. I got my stimulus check just like everybody else. I bought a True Form runner, which I'm very excited about. And like, I have not gotten to use this thing yet. We've had it for about 3 weeks and I haven't got to use it yet. My wife has used it a bunch. It's one of those treadmills. It's got like a curve to it. And it doesn't have a motor in it. Like the natural gravity of running on the curve like makes it spin. And you can go from like a full sprint to like a walk and like not have to touch any buttons or anything. It's amazing. So it was really expensive. And I'm a little guilty that
it was really great. I love it. It's a great machine.
It was really expensive. It was really expensive. All right. We got to wrap this up a little bit here, but Wes,
we're just kind of like giving you guys house tours of what we do. And I'm like, this is the most un-Star Wars podcast
it is.
Ever
it's
done.
Amazing. I love it. All right, Wes, tell us about this photo. You already told us that you go fish and hunt a lot, but what's this? Are those quail? What is that?
That is no. These are these are
pheasants. Pheasants. Yes.
These are pheasants. So I have a yearly trip. I go to South Dakota, and South Dakota is kind of like the mecca of pheasant hunting. So we do.
The more you know.
Yeah, you do they have a giant. They go to town with the word cock up there in South Dakota. Let me tell you.
What?
In fact, that's what you yell whenever it flies in the air, and you yell cock for a male bird and hen for a female, and you don't shoot the females. So just a little tip for everybody. But this is a picture of a yearly trip, and after we're done, after everybody gets their limit, everybody has a beer, and we have another social hour, if you will. But this was last year, and we wear orange and bright yellow hats because we're walking in between cornfields, so we have to be able to see each other. We walk in a straight line, down corn rows, and then as everybody walks in a straight line, it busts all the birds out. You shoot at the birds that fly up, and that's kind of a yearly trip that we do. So
do you eat them? Do you eat pheasants? Yep. What do they taste like? It tastes like chicken.
They like chicken. Yeah.
Is it gamier than chicken?
No.
I've never had pheasants. I've had duck,
do is
pheasants.
We make pheasant Diablos where you just wrap them in bacon and cream cheese. Or they started making them in pot pie. So you have the pot pie mix in like a little pot pie tin, and you put the breast meat on top. It's so good. It's so good, dude. But
okay, Emma asked a really important question that we should have asked. How the hell do you tell the difference between male and female?
So the females are a brown, kind of gray, and the males have a long green tail. They have a green head. It's pretty distinct.
Okay, Charlie and I noticed this today on our walk. We saw 2 cardinals, and it was a male and female because the female is also brown. The animal kingdom is so sexist because all the males get all the color and cool stuff. The females like I'm brown. Rude evolution.
Oh man,
I will say that. But also all this to say, y'all, like all this we all love to enjoy all these other hobbies. These other things that literally sometimes we take trips, we build things, we play things, we take entire days to do other stuff, and we still do all this Star Wars stuff. We still read all these books and comics and watch all these shows, which is not to guilt you if you do not. It's only to say, like, you know what? You have permission to do what brings you joy on the day it brings you joy. You know, some days you want to sit and read all of a Star Wars book. Some days you want to go for a pheasant hunt or build a gym or play D&D with your friends or see a movie or do whatever it's going to be. And if that means that you finish a book 4 weeks after a Youtini roundtable, so be it. If that means that you never get to a book and then 4 years later you want to do it, great. Hop into Discord and ask someone else what they thought of it because you're reading it right now. Like, it's not a race. There is adrenaline that comes with being on top of things. You can join in the Twitter discourse. You can join in like the active channels. That is fun. Not gonna pretend it's not. We love when you're listening to these live. We love to see you all in the chat that have been talking about all the great things that we've been discussing tonight. But if you don't, it's okay. Like, to get a little meta for a second, it's been a crazy year of guilt and worry and anxiety for everything that's been going on. You know, to go back to Star Wars, what did Luke say in Last Jedi, right? Just breathe. Just breathe. Enjoy this stuff as you want to. If you want to get all of it, check out all the links we got on Youtini. We can take care of you. We'll get you all the things you need. But if you want to take a little time off and do something else because you're feeling it, you know what? Binge Bad Batch when you get back. Pick up that book at a paperback instead of a hardcover because you maybe want to do it a little later. That's okay. But also use the affiliate links because, you know, Papa got the bill. Love Star Wars because it makes you happy, not because it's your obligation, right? So, yeah. Boys, any final thoughts to help our folks through, or any last thoughts we have about Burnout before we go into a roundtable next week, which I'm gonna lie to you all and say was actually homework, and you better have it read. Any other thoughts?
What you said earlier about like some people like what you're putting all of this work into, not technically work, but just what's something you enjoy, and then somebody makes you feel like it doesn't matter. Somebody should never make you feel like the stuff that you love doesn't matter. So, just put that out of your mind. Just enjoy what you enjoy, and like kind of like we had a consensus about, there's never too much Star Wars. There's a lot of Star Wars for everyone.
Yeah. And hey, you know what?
we gotta refine that statement, but I want that somewhere. But like, Star Wars is for everyone, but not everything is for you. That's pretty close. It's pretty close.
Think about it in your workout.
Yeah, there it is. You know what? Hey, if you're listening, and if you have a friend that's into a lot of other cool stuff, or if you are a person that like reads all the Star Wars, you know, ask them about their thing. Maybe they'll ask you about your thing, and you can build that bridge. You know, no one ever got help by not asking about someone else's hobby, so that can be fun as well. Let's see, Corey, aside from trying to build our next t-shirt logo or design, any thoughts?
About like what exactly?
About Burnout as a whole, about kind of the, you know, just anyone that is still dealing with the fact that, you know, how do I make sure I'm keeping up with stuff? How do I balance my life? How do we get rid of the guilt that comes with trying to balance all of our other hobbies and Star Wars?
I think the takeaway message, this is supposed to be fun, right? This is, you know, originally a fantasy space opera written for children, in the words of George Lucas, right?
Yep.
Like, and
correct.
You know, it's not something that you should define your entire life by. It's something that you should experience, get a lot of joy out, but take away the lessons from Star Wars more than you take away just the sheer joy of participating in it. Take away the value of the sense of community. Take away the value of looking and figuring out how you should appreciate any form of entertainment. And like we preach all the time to choose joy and don't gatekeep and all these things, right? Like that's what you should get out of Star Wars. It's the emotions that you feel by participating in it, not necessarily the pride of being the most ultimate fan, right? Like that's not what you should be seeking. And if that's the only thing you're seeking, you're gonna get burned out eventually. It's gonna make you like not enjoy the things that you're supposed to be enjoying. So, you know, take a step back, do some other stuff, and come back to this incredible universe that we've all dived into a million times.
All to say, there's never, like we've said it a million times, there's never been a better time to be a Star Wars fan. The stuff coming out right now is incredible, and there's always stuff to go back to. And as we end here, one last thing from the chat. Whisper asked if Anakin Skywalker brought balance to the Force in episode 3 or episode 6. It's episode 6. That's my opinion.
Episode 6.
It's episode 6. Balance in the Force, according to George Lucas himself, is when good triumphs over evil and the galaxy is at peace.
I think it's episode 3.
Corey's wrong. All right, on that note, Corey, we will miss you next week. For everyone else, the greater good roundtable begins next week. We'll see you then.
To be clear, it's because I'm on night shift, not because he's kicking me off about my opinion about episode 3.
Sorry, that'll do it for this week's episode and Corey's tenure on the Living Force. If you're already supporting us on Patreon, thank you for this madness. We'll see you at Trivia Night later this month. Keep your eyes out for details. And again, give us questions in Discord about it. A special thank you goes to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command. You can find us on Twitter at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Wes is at Boss West. Charles is at the hospital, not important, but is also at C. Hankel. A special thank you to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor. Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, who is working on new things as we speak. And Wes, our producer and community manager and putter of things in the links. Check the description of the video for all appropriate links. Thank you to Corey Nuess for podcasting with me. Corey, get out. Your opinion doesn't matter. And as always, may the Force be with you. Don't burn out on Star Wars. We love you.